Hello, I'm Nick McClure. I'll be talking to you today about armed robbery prevention in a business setting. Robbery can be a terrible and traumatic experience for any victim. Taking preventative measures and preparing for a potential robbery can greatly reduce the chance of your business being robbed. It will also greatly assist the employee who may have to face this highly stressful situation. One of the keys to robbery prevention is target hardening. Target hardening can help reduce the chance that your business becomes a target for a robbery by taking steps to make it less appealing to a robber. A well-protected, well-prepared business will deter a potential robbery. One method is to put a spotlight on crime. Put the robber on stage. Robbers don't want to be identified, and they don't want to be visible from the outside. By highly illuminating the inside and outside of your business, it makes it easier to identify people or potential robbers coming in. Also, poorly lit parking lots afford robbers a good area to hide and lurk and case your store. Another method is cash register placement. Placing the cash register at the front of the store near a large unobstructed window will greatly increase the visibility of your cash register, yourself, and the person that you're serving, or in this case, being robbed by. A would-be robber does not want a police officer passing by to see an armed man robbing you, nor does he want other members of the public seeing you. This also helps with you identifying the direction he flees, a getaway car, or any other information that you may need to see as the robber's running away. Another method is to limit the money in your cash register. Keep as little money as possible in the cash register and let the world know it. Robbers want to get a decent amount of money, and if the risk is not worth the amount of money that they will get from your store, they may not rob you. One method of doing this is using a drop safe. A drop safe is a safe with a slot equipped to take bills, an electronic door that an employee cannot open. Most people understand how a drop safe works and understands that the person working at the counter will have no ability, no matter what you do, to open that safe. If there is a very limited amount of money in the cash register and the rest of it being in the drop safe, it will not be a reasonable score for a would-be robber, and they may pass your store. When putting money in the drop safe, let people see you do it. Advertise the drop safe. Again, you want to educate the public, because that includes would-be robbers. If they know you are using a drop safe system and there is very limited cash on hand, they may not want to rob your store. It may not be worth it for them for a small amount of cash. Do not count cash in the presence of customers, and do not count cash when cleaning the register or at closing. This could induce a spontaneous robbery. Also, if a person knows you're counting money at the end of the day, they can have a pretty good idea when and where you'll be, who will be around, how much money you can have, and can begin planning a robbery. Another method to deter people from robbing is a security or surveillance system. Installing cameras in your store is a very effective method of deterring robbery. And again, when you install security cameras, advertise them. Put signs up out on the store, let your cameras be highly visible. And another method is put TV monitors in the store, allowing people to see that they are on camera. If a person walks into your store and right away notices the monitor that they are on TV, they'll know that every minute they're in your store, they're being videotaped, and their identity can be easily proven. Another place would be put a monitor behind the counter, so a would-be robber would see himself on camera the minute he's standing in front of your counter, and at the last second may decide not to rob your store. As with this, some robbers do realize that they can take the surveillance tape. In this case, you could have a second set or a dummy set. Keeping a tape recording system up front to give to a potential robber to pacify him and have him leave is a great tool. This way, the robber thinks he has taken the tape away. It eases tension, and in reality, you have a copy in the back to assist the police in capturing the suspect. Another method is to keep a lookout and monitor danger. This sounds very simple, but you should be looking around all the time to see people loitering, lurking, milling about your store. Someone sitting in a parked car staring at your store could be a potential robber. maybe stare this person down. Draw attention to them. If a person is standing around, stare at them. If they don't leave, call the police. Let the police know you're doing it. It may scare them away, and it could also help the police in preventing a potential robbery. Another method, if you see a suspicious person in a lineup coming up to your counter, you could ask the customer you're serving, "Are you two together?" This way, the customer you're serving will turn around and look at the robber, most likely saying no, they don't know who it is. But in this case, now another person is turned around, looked directly at the robber, can help you identify. This very simple little act could deter a potential robber at the last minute from robbing your store, knowing now that two people are going to identify him instead of just one. After dark, when most robberies occur, block off potential hotspots where robbers could stand without being visible from the outside. This will greatly reduce areas where they could hide, sneak up, jump, or feel confident that they could rob and get away. But in a worst case scenario, in the event of a robbery, here are a few steps to help ensure your survival. Experience has shown that the best way to keep from being hurt is to avoid trying to be heroic. Treat the robber just as you would a customer. Your safety and that of your fellow workers and customer is much more important than any money. The first step is to remain calm and stay in control. Your chance to get back at the person who is victimizing you begins now. By remaining calm and taking mental notes of the robber, which will help the police in their apprehension of the suspect. Keep it short and smooth. The longer it takes, the more nervous a robber could become. The more nervous a robber becomes, the more chance they could pull the trigger. Obey the robber's commands. Robbers seldom hurt people who follow commands. Don't argue. Once the robbery is started, it is too late for robbers to change their mind, but it is not too late for them to get angry and harm you. Don't argue, just cooperate. And don't fight. The money isn't worth the risk of someone being hurt. To attack an armed robber is foolhardy, not heroic. Robbers are usually very tense and easily provoked, and could be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Don't use weapons. Weapons breed violence. Do not keep weapons in your store. If an armed robber has brought a weapon into your store, there is already one too many weapons in your store. If you are facing a weapon, the odds are against you. Some people take risks and turn out to be losers. Robbery has become more common in recent years, and violence has increased. Look at the robber. Notice details in describing them and their mannerisms. When trying to determine age, weight, height, compare them to yourselves or someone you know. Memorize such peculiarities as tattoos, scars, or any other distinguishing characteristics. Look at the weapon. Try to identify size, type, color. Watch the robber so you can help identify which way he flees. This direction, his speed, whether he uses a getaway car. Also, try to identify anything the robber has touched so you can tell police and they can dust for fingerprints. Tell the robber about any surprises. You don't want to surprise a robber and end up getting hurt because you had to reach down and get the cash for him. Don't chase a robber. Robbers may shoot pursuers. And after the robbery, lock the door, keep any witnesses in the store, and call 911. Do not touch anything and attempt to preserve all evidence. Following these steps may help deter a robbery, but in the case of a robbery, survival is your number one issue. Do not fight, do not argue, give the robber what he wants and have him on his way. This way you can avoid being hurt.